Hi guys, Michael with Open Book Build here. So I want to give the owner builders out there an update on building material costs. Now remember, about half the cost of building a new home is in the material. So it's really important for us to keep tabs on where material costs are at all times. Now we want to make sure that you get the best possible price for your new dream home. And the only way to do that is to really know what our costs are. So let's start with lumber, as it makes up about 8% of the cost of a new home. Now it appears we've reached a bottom in softwood lumber, the material used to frame new homes. Now in fact, wholesale lumber pricing hit a low point this past month, not seen since before the pandemic. So let's take a look at some actual product price changes year over year since last January. 19/32 inch CDX plywood is down a whopping $25.45 per sheet over the last year. 2x4 16-foot number 2 is down $11.76 per board. Now again, these are price changes over the last 12 months. 2x4 92 and 5/8 pre-cut studs SPF down $3.86. 7/16 OSB sheets of OSB down $17.66 a sheet. And just to give you guys some context, the Open Book Build home, which is a small home, 1,120 square feet, has almost 80 sheets of 7/16 sheathing in it. So that's a huge amount of money. Now roof trusses have also dropped considerably in price. According to the Producer Price Index, softwood lumber prices were down 26.1% in 2022. So will these low lumber prices stick around? Well, we've recently heard of quite a few lumber mill closures and curtailments, which means supply is being constrained to more closely match the demand. Now, this should provide support for lumber prices. Any uptick in building volumes of new homes will most likely increase prices going forward. So that's lumber. Now let's take a look at the costs of some of the other major building materials that make up new homes today. It's important to note that although softwood lumber has really dropped in price over the last year, two other major building materials are continuing to increase. Now, the two big items that are still increasing are gypsum, the material that's used primarily in drywall, and ready-mix concrete. Now, let's start with the ready-mix concrete. For those of you that aren't familiar with this term, ready-mix concrete is the concrete that comes out to the job site in a truck ready to pour, the truck that spins. Now, in 2022, ready-mix concrete went up 13.6%, and that's according to the Producer Price Index. And things aren't getting any better so far in 2023, as January prices went up another 7%, and we aren't even to the end of January yet. Remember, the American Infrastructure Plan will most likely keep concrete prices high as we move forward into the year. Switching to the cost of gypsum building materials, which includes drywall, we see price increases were 17.6% in 2022. This big increase is on top of a parabolic move in 2021 of a whopping 23%. Now, one last cost item that's important to cover when we're talking about building houses are steel mill products. Now, according to the Producer Price Index, steel mill products were down 28.7% by the end of 2022, but that's after a whopping 128% increase in 2021. So some of you may be asking, is now a good time to build my dream home? Well, as it relates to the material costs for a new home, they're down roughly 26% from the peak we saw last spring. But if I were to place a wager on where overall building costs are headed, my bet is that costs won't be going down much from here. In fact, if housing starts begin to tick up this spring, lumber will most likely catch a bid and will start to go up again. So now is as good of a time as any to start your dream home, at least in my opinion. So for those of you that might be interested in learning how to build your own home, you can stop by and check out our Owner Builder online course at ownerbuilderclass.com.